Hello, good evening, and thanks for watching the news with me, Eric Nsikiti. First, the headlines. Ballot papers arrive ahead of the by-elections in 3 constituencies and a ward this Tuesday. Local non-governmental organizations used up over 815 billion kwacha during the 2020-2021 financial year, a report shows. In other news, Minister of Gender Patricia Galiati warns senior officials against using their positions to engage in sexual relationships with employees. We have these plus many other stories. Please do stay with us. In our top story this evening, ballot papers have arrived in the country ahead of the by-elections in 3 constituencies and a ward Tuesday next week. The ballot papers arrived through Kamuzu International Airport in Lilongwe. Malawi Electoral Commission MEC is holding the by-elections in Nkhotakota North East constituency, Dedza Central East constituency, Nzimba East and at Chimwalire ward, following deaths of representatives of the people in the areas. Malawi Electoral Commission Chairperson Chifundo Gachali has since promised a smooth by-election.
Well, from here we are dispatching all the 4 different pallets to the 4 centers where we're going to actually unpack the pallets on Sunday at 9 a.m. We have shared all the information on the packing list with all the stakeholders. The different parties and their candidates have been shared all the details on what is in the packs, so that when we are actually breaking up the pallets on Sunday morning, they can be able to verify the quantities as well as the appropriate sizes of the materials that we have received. So we are right on course and we're glad that the materials have landed as we planned.
Local non-governmental organizations spent at least 815 billion kwacha during the 2020-2021 financial year. A 2020-2021 NGO sector report by the NGO board also indicates 20 topmost spending organizations used up over 176 billion kwacha. The report is expected to be released next month. Feston Malegezo finds out if the money has had any impact on the lives of Malawians.
This was disclosed in Mzuzu on Friday when the board engaged board members of various organizations on NGO Act, policy and regulations guiding the sector. It was further disclosed that as per the NGO Act of 2001, NGOs are required to submit audited financial statements, annual return forms and annual technical reports to the board. However, only 35% complied. Director of Corporate Services for NGO Board, Linda Njiko, said in 2020 only 228 out of the 643 NGOs in the country complied with the requirement. Njiko further said there is not much impact to show as compared to the resources the sector is receiving.
Few others who provided reports, but when we went on the ground we couldn't find anything that they had done. All that information will be made available to the public through a document which we call the NGO sector report, which summarizes what the NGOs have done. But from the regulatory point of view, we feel that NGOs can do better with the resources that are coming into the country so that everyone can see for themselves what the sector is doing.
One of the participants, board member for Good Health Organization Bishop Nguluwe, says most organizations fail to comply with the tenets of the law as they take the organizations as their personal entities.
The problem is that the beginning of these NGOs, sometimes ago, it was like a personal entity. So to change the mindset from personal entity to comply with the law and the regulations of NGO become very difficult.
Meanwhile, economic expert Bichani Chereni from the University of Business and Applied Sciences said there is need for serious regulation in the sector as there is no meaningful impact on the ground. He further suggests that NGO board should scrutinize relevance of some projects, adding some should be in line with the Malawi 2063 blueprint.
Minister of Gender Patricia Galiati has warned senior officials against taking advantage of their positions to engage in sexual relationships with employees. Kariati issued the warning during the launch of a sexual harassment policy by the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation MPC in Blantyre on Friday. Gary Samati has the details.
The policy is set to protect MBC employees from sexual harassment at the workplace. While warning men in managerial positions against sexual harassment, Kariati took a step further, warning women in offices against provoking men for them to get handed work benefits and promotions.
We are moving in the direction which we are looking forward to implement all the legislations which we have in Malawi, i.e. the 2013 legislations of gender equality, because a number of women, they are not even coming forth with in the workplace because of fear of being sexually harassed. And this policy is going to protect both men and women. We know some women provoke women as well, men as well. So we didn't even leave a stone unturned just to advise also the women that they need not to provoke the men. But also the men, knowing that 45% are those women who are really harassed sexually in the workplace. We are calling upon our Malawian men to maintain the integrity and respect the women who are coming working in different institutions, be it private as well as public.
On his part, MBC board chairperson, Reverend Vasco Kajipapa, warns that the broadcaster will expose all would-be sexual harassment perpetrators. He further says MBC has put in place clear plans to ensure that the policy is executed.
There is a committee that has been put in place, and since all the employees have been given a copy of it, they should be able to read and understand it. And the committees that have been put in all the regions and the stations will be able to help monitor, enhance, and enforce this type of policy. So we are sure this will be implemented.
Among others, the policy seeks to end behavior such as conditional promotions or work benefits upon sexual demand.
The Seed Traders Association of Malawi has urged the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture to lobby more support and pass the seed bill. Officials from the association made the call during a seed bill sensitization meeting organized for members of Parliament in Lilongwe on Friday. Deogracious Imana has more in this report, read by Blessings Mpinganjira.
The Seed Trade Association of Malawi started the process of reviewing the Seed Act of 1996 with support from USAID because it had outdated provisions with weak penalties. Secretary General for the Seed Trade Association of Malawi, Nessie Munyama, explains why STAM started the review of the 1996 Seed Act.
The bill is very crucial. There are a lot of areas that it will address. For example, we are looking at the proliferation of fake seed in the industry. The bill will curb that one because we were looking at the penalties that were highlighted. If you compare them with the old bill, that was a non-starter. You cannot find somebody who has faked seed with millions with 2,000 kwacha fine.
Director of Agriculture Research Services, Wusoni Magumba, explains the importance of the new bill.
By opening up to harmonize with these seed protocols, we are actually, our regulations are going to be harmonized with those regional seed regulations, which will allow actually the seed that we are producing in the country to be exported elsewhere within the COMESA region and also the SADC region.
Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture, Samir Suleiman, says his committee welcomes the bill.
The coming in of this bill will help regulate the seed and also make sure that seed is readily available and is locally made right here in Malawi. So it is very crucial. You cannot talk of agriculture, you cannot talk of bumper yield without good quality seed.
The new bill has proposed a maximum of 50 million kwacha and a 10-year imprisonment penalties for those flouting the upcoming Seed Act.
It's a Blessings in Mpinganjira, ending a report followed by Deogracious Imana. Still in the news, there are concerns that poverty continues to expose children to various forms of abuse in the country. Local non-governmental organization SOS Children's Village cites early marriages, teenage pregnancies, and school dropouts as some of the injustices children are facing. Patience Lunda has the story.
The development has prompted the organization to partner with Technical, Entrepreneurial and Vocational Education Training Authority, TVETA, to equip parents with vocational skills which would help them provide for their day-to-day needs of their children. SOS Children's Village Programs Manager George Kondowe said they are targeting 100 households from Mzimba district with the initiative, who will be trained in tailoring, manure making and livestock keeping, among others. Kondowe added that a total of 400 children are expected to benefit indirectly by training the selected households.
The idea is that once these people complete their trainings, they will be able to provide the required care to their children, because we believe that an empowered family should be able to have the capacity to provide the basic needs of children.
Speaking after inspecting the progress of the trainings, TVETA Northern Region Service Center Manager Joseph Chikopa said there is need for provision of more resources to the trainees so that the practical lessons are more meaningful.
We just need to enhance availability of materials so that the practical lessons are meaningful.
This initiative is being done under the Family Strengthening Program.
This is the news on Times Television, TTV. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest in international news.
pamene chilichonse chili bwino, zinthu zosayembekezera zimathanso kuchitika. Koma tikagwirana manja ndi kulimbika, tikhoza kusintha zinthu mdera lathu. Tonse pamodzi tikhoza kukwaniritsa zinthu zapatali. Ndipo tonse pamodzi tikhoza kufikira masomphenya a mmudzi wathu. Mukagwiritsa ntchito TNM poyimba phone, kutumiza ma SMS, kugwiritsa ntchito internet, kugwiritsa ntchito mpamba chaka chilichonse, TNM idzapereka 1% kapena 1 kwacha pa 100 kwacha iliyonse ya ndalama kuti ithandizire pa chitukuko chomwe anthu akufuna mdera lawo. Imbani *4888# kuti mutsimikize TA wanu. Tikabwera pamodzi ndi kugwirizana chinthu chimodzi, tingathe kupanga zinthu zazikulu mmudzi wathu. TNM mudzi wathu. Umodzi unamanga mtolo. Ndondomeko zizatsatidwa.
We all start differently, but we can all start with the strongest protection. Because some start early, others start late. Some from little homes, others from big ones. Some start together, or all on their own.
It doesn't matter how you start, as long as you start strong with new Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection. Now with fluoride plus arginine for 4 times more strengthening power, so that you can give them the strongest start to their day. Colgate. Start strong, stay strong.
Welcome back. In international news now, activists in Nigeria gathered this week to demonstrate on the 1-year anniversary of massive street rallies last year against police brutality. As Timothy Obiezu reports from Abuja, many victims of police abuse say they have yet to see justice.
Obianuju Iloanya's brother Chijoke was 20 years old in November 2012 when members of Nigeria's notorious Special Anti-Robbery Squad, or SARS, arrested him at a party in Anambra State, southeastern Nigeria. That was the last time she set eyes on him.
It was a child dedication. They were drinking and making us, arrested everybody. That's not enough reason to kill anybody.
She says the SARS, often accused of torture, rape, and extrajudicial killings, was responsible for her brother's death. Issues involving the unit escalated last year, leading to street demonstrations demanding its disbandment. Days later, authorities dissolved the police unit, but nationwide protests continued and grew to include calls for better governance. The protest ended in a bloody shooting at the Lekki toll gate in Lagos. Amnesty International says 12 people were killed. This week, thousands of protesters across several Nigerian cities, including Abuja, remembered victims of police brutality 1 year after the End SARS protests. They also reignited calls for an end to police brutality.
That indeed, with resilience, with commitment, that we can surmount our fears and we can confront every issue that is bedeviling our nation with a view of making genuine corrections.
In the last year, authorities set up investigative panels and have been offering restitution to victims. A Lagos panel on Monday said it has awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in compensation to 70 out of more than 250 victims who came forward in the state. But activists say the process has been slow and no police officers who were guilty of abuse have been arrested.
Until compensation is paid to every victim who got awarded compensation at the panels, until arrests and prosecution is enforced for all the officers indicted by the panel, we cannot say justice has been achieved.
I know that as long as the Nigerian authorities refuse to bring justice and accountability for the crimes committed by its security forces, the agitations will continue.
In the meantime, victims and protesters say the memories and impact of police brutality will never go away. Timothy Ubiezu for VOA News, Abuja, Nigeria.
Experts say the global shipping crisis likely means shoppers will face higher prices and fewer choices this holiday season. For VOA, Karina Bafraziani reports.
From cars and computers to home appliances, apparel and shoes, the global shipping crisis is expected to bring high prices to a wide range of businesses. Paul Bender, CEO of game publisher Greater Than Games, has designed and distributed board games online for more than a decade. His business depends on manufacturing in China. 2020 was a good year for Bender, with so many people sheltering in place. The board game industry sales skyrocketed. But he says that it has been harder to keep up production in 2021 because getting game parts shipped from China is more difficult.
If we were going to get a 40-foot cargo container from, say, the port of Shanghai or the port of Shenzhen, to kind of in southern China, wherever they're coming from in China, to St. Louis, Missouri, where we're located, about a year ago, it was maybe $6,000 for a cargo container all in, and it would maybe take 4 to 6 weeks. Now, we're getting quoted prices that are around $25,000 per container, and it is taking months and months with not a lot of clarity about how long it's going to take.
Bender says the higher shipping prices are forcing him to raise his prices. Many other businesses are in the same situation. Experts say the higher shipping costs are due to cargo container shortage in China. Some of the Chinese containers held in US or other ports around the world have been waiting for months to be unloaded.
There's the problem. We don't have enough truck drivers. Why is that? Because last year, many truck drivers, well, there's no business. So they switched to work for Amazon because Amazon is growing like crazy. So once they shift, they don't want to go back because it's just too complicated.
Another reason are factory shutdowns in Asia.
The demand goes up, but the supply went down. Why it went down? Because in Asia, because of vaccination the vaccine is not widely available. In Malaysia, in Vietnam, in China, they just don't have enough. So as a result, the Delta variants, when there are COVID cases, they may have to quarantine. Sometimes the factories may need to close.
As production fell, online sales of apparel, computers and other products rose dramatically since the start of the pandemic. Experts say over-reliance on Chinese imports is at the root of the global shipping crisis. In mid-October, U.S. President Joe Biden announced that the country's largest ports in California will work around the clock to clear 500,000 cargo containers. But experts say more needs to be done at the local level for the plan to work.
Even if things are moving off of the boats faster, if the warehouses are only operating the same number of hours, how's that product going to get processed?
Alternative transportation methods also cannot solve the problem, says Paul Bender.
Some companies have been talking about doing air freight. First off, have an airplane bring it over instead of a cargo ship, which is a lot quicker, but it is very expensive, very, very expensive. And that's also had cost increases for how much it costs. So it's not really doable.
With the holiday season just a few weeks away, experts say shoppers are likely to see higher prices and longer delivery times. Karina Befredjian for VOA News, Washington.
And that's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines again. Ballot papers arrive ahead of the by-elections in 3 constituencies and award this Tuesday. Local and governmental organizations used up over 815 billion kwacha during the 2020-2021 financial year, a report shows. In other news, Minister of Gender Patricia Galiati warns senior officials against using their positions to engage in sexual relationships with employees. You have been with me, Eric Nsigiti, but remember you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page Times 360 Malawi, subscribing to 1895 and following us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Please remember also to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, mask up and get vaccinated to prevent COVID-19. Good evening.